Welcome everybody, Don Giannetti, lighting-essentials.com and project52prosystem.com. We're doing a free workshop here during the coronavirus lockdown. So a lot of people aren't out and able to do a lot of things. So we thought we might as well do a free class. Doing classes is what I do. So here we go. This is class number 2 on lighting. This is from our 8-week food course, and this is the introduction to lighting for that course. So, first up we have Steve Collins and his shot here, these white on white utensils, and the white background, and of course we have the very shiny different olives and tomatoes and cheese. Now what Steve did is he coated them with a little bit of olive oil, and that gives every one of them the same texture, which is the olive oil. The olive oil becomes the texture, not the tomato or the olive or the cheese for that matter. It's the texture of the very shiny olive oil that we're seeing. And you can see the exact reflections of the lighting here in these olive oils. That's just simply a specular from the light source. Let's take a look at what Steve did. One big softbox above, he's shooting straight down, so it's basically a side lit shot. A lot of fill from this side, and a lovely image meant to be flat. A little bit of flat because Steve chose to bring his light around from the circle of beauty and create a different type of look, flattening it out and using the highlight itself as the focal point of the image. So sometimes front lighting can work. In this particular case, Steve does a really, really good job of it. Next up is Barb Sherman's lovely, beautiful textural image of garlic. Isn't this lovely? Pure white background, white aged boards, everything sitting here beautifully done. How did she do it? And notice that, by the way, that this garlic could really be easily overlit. It could, putting light on garlic with all those thin layers can get a little touchy, a little touch and go with it. And what Barbara did, put the garlic right here in this little nip of the shadow. There's speed light coming from a softbox behind the diffuser, coming back lighting this. That when that light goes off, it lights this card up as well and bounces light back that way. So you're seeing the shot with the speed light not firing. When it fires, it lights all of this up. The black card to the left keeps the tones in here from blowing out, keeps the backlight from hitting the side of the garlic here, but it also provides something for the garlic to reflect that's dark. Go back to the garlic, see that? So when you try this on your own, try a whiteboard and then try a blackboard. You might find that the blackboard gives you a little bit more clarity, especially in the shadows when you're trying to deal with this type of backlight. Next up, Frank Brashear. Frank's got some beautiful highlights. Look at the highlights on that tomato. Look at that. Look at on the lime. Look at this. Isn't that just lovely? Just beautiful, beautiful highlights. Frank is lighting from the side. You can see our cameras coming this way. Notice, by the way, how Frank also checked this line right here as to be his center line. So go straight up, and then the lines on both sides come in at the same angles. It frames everything in the picture so beautifully. Then if Frank had moved his camera down to the left 3 or 4 inches, then there would be no center line for these to be based on, and it's based on that one right there. Lovely, very, very well done. Light is beautiful all the way around. How did Frank do it? Well, we got your simple bounce card on this side to fill in the shadows, etc. But he's using a very soft, big soft light behind a large soft scrim. So it's basically double scrimmed lighting. Let's go back to see what it looks like. Looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? You still get the shape of the softbox, but the edges are broken down just a little bit, and we get a little bit of a softer edge than a very sharp, shiny edge that we would get if he was not behind a diffuser. Look at his lighting again. There we go. Isn't it nice? Very simple. One light setup. Sara Record, look at this. I love how Sara kept these apples right into focus here. She let them fall off just as we get to the edge. Beautiful job. Kept this one all perfect. And so we know it's our hero shot. Right there is our hero apple. It's sharp. It's the only one that is. And it's the biggest and most well-formed apple in the bowl. Really, really lovely. Her lighting is just so simple. Wait till you see this. You don't need a lot of fancy gear. You just need an imagination and a thought, where does my light want to come from? Well, in this case, she put a strobe, a box here, behind a scrim, and then created a lean-to over the top of the apples. So the scrim lights up and lights all of this lean-to up beautifully. A little white card placed up front. We're going to go back and see what that does. A little white card placed up front just to give a little bit of edge light. And it's a very, very simple lighting setup. And look at, she's using one of our plans to make the scrim. So she's clamped that scrim exactly where she wants it to be. Let's go back and look at the image again. Isn't that beautiful? That little white card up front doesn't do a whole lot, but it does keep this lit pretty well up in front. We're not seeing even so much as a highlight from that little white card, but we know that card is activating right under here, and so we don't have that heavy shadow falling too quickly. Sara is very careful with her lighting to make it exactly perfect. Same with another one of our food shooters is Julie Leroux. And Julie is a wonderful food shooter in the Boston area. And she's very, very, very good with one light. She prefers one light. And many times her one light is the window at the side of her studio. So right now she's shooting with this scrim, just like you get inside your 5-in-1s and your 6-in-1s. Still, I think the best lighting tool you can buy is a 5-in-1 or a 6-in-1. That and a Target shower curtain and you're set, believe me. So she's got a couple of little white boards up here just to keep the light rolling around the front of these apricots, just to keep it rolling around, keep the shadow open here. But still, the main light is coming from behind and above. The arc of beauty. I was going to say the orb of beauty, and then it became the orc of beauty. Orcs are not beautiful. Let's get that cleared up right now. They're not. They're ugly creatures. But we have some beautiful shots here from Julie. Look how simple this is. Lighting does not have to be difficult at all. Virginia Smith shows us this incredible carrot she got at a food market. Then she styled the stalks up here to be something really extraordinary. Shot it, and then with Photoshop she added this funky texture to the background. But shooting it was very, very simple as well. She shot it by her patio door. This is a second shot she did, but this is the same lighting that she used for this shot. She just did two different shots, and I chose the other one to show. But that's her lighting right there. Nice bright sunny day outside. White table with white cards around it, and that's all you need. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't it gorgeous? I love it. I really do. Irina Ishenko. Irina shot cherries. Irina loves shooting this angle, kind of almost top down, just a very slightly off. It's very beautifully done. Bright outdoors, an old cooking pan, and then she's got a white card just coming in from above to give fill. And notice that she's using a 50 millimeter 1.2 at 3.5 for 1/30th of a second at ISO 640. It's not very bright outside. And because she's able to shoot with very minimal light, she gets very interesting coverage of light through here. Very, very easy to do and lots of fun. Last up is Nicole Fern Lee's beautiful loaf of bread. Another one light shot that I'm very proud of my students for doing. It's Nicole's a wonderful photographer, and she set this this piece of bread. Bread's really fun. If you can find bread during the during this coronavirus thing, some from fresh bread, wow, will make it really a lot of fun to shoot. Baguettes and the breads with dark colors are just wonderful. Marbles and rye and things. And Nicole used a window and a scrim, and she dropped the scrim down over the set. So she had the scrim going from the top to the bottom down here. Not really side lighting, it's more of top and side lighting. Let's go back to the shot. You can see the light wrapping all the way over to here. That's the scrim stretching across. Really lovely work. And that's Nicole Fern Lee. And last up we have Tracy Sutherland. Looks like natural light, doesn't it? Like big window light here. Look how beautiful this is lit up. Everything is just so perfect. Dark wood and the bright edge of garlic, and everything is well contained exposure-wise. We have falling forward shadows, so we know that it's backlit. Plus our highlights are right on the top of things. Also a determination of backlit. How did she do it? She sat in her living room, set up a scrim, and fired a flash through it. Best bang for your buck, one of these things. You got silver and gold reflector. You've got black and white reflector and negative reflect. You've got the scrim on the inside. It's just a huge, huge tool for us to use. This is really well done. Tracy's got some white cards up front, as you can see, all in her way of making this work. I think that's a black card. I think it's black on all sides. So it's a black card, putting a little bit of darkness up front here, which helps the garlic keep its shape, because garlic almost glows when you hit it with light. It's just a lot of light. So, all right, one light source here, one light source here, one here. All of these are one light source, folks. They're all just one light. That's what we want you to concentrate on, is just one light. We're not going to add kickers until later in the class. Sarah's apples, Frank's tomatoes, and back up to Steve. So thanks a lot for coming along. I hope that you're not banging your head against the wall on the lockdown, and I'm going to talk about that throughout this course. So people who are taking this course, if it's after the lockdown, now you know what we were all doing during the lockdown. We were all shooting food. Yep. All right. Everybody have a great one, and I will